Today, we're going to talk about something really revolutionary in the fight against breast cancer. It's an approach called theranostics, and it's basically like shifting from using a sledgehammer to a laser-guided smart bomb. I mean, just imagine for a second, what if, instead of a treatment that kind of blasts your whole body, you could send a tiny, microscopic package of medicine directly to a cancer cell, and only the cancer cell? That's the incredible promise we're going to unpack today. So, to really get why this new idea is such a game changer, we first have to talk about the old way of doing things and why it has its limits. For a long, long time, we've relied on some pretty powerful but, generalized treatments. Think about treatments like chemotherapy and radiation. Look, they're absolute lifesavers, no question about it. But they're also what you might call blunt instruments. They're designed to go after any cells that are dividing rapidly. And yeah, that includes cancer cells, but it also includes a lot of healthy cells, like in your hair or your stomach. That collateral damage is exactly why we see so many tough side effects. The treatment just can't tell the good guys from the bad guys. And here's another huge challenge. It's this concept called heterogeneous. It's a bit of a sciencey word, but what it means is simple. Breast cancer is not one single disease. Every single tumor is a little different. It can vary from one person to the next, and get this, it can even be different in different parts of the same person's tumor. So you can see why a one-size-fits-all approach can run into some serious problems. Okay, so with those challenges on the table, scientists started asking, how can we do this better? How can we be smarter? And that's exactly what led to the field of theranostics. The name itself actually tells you pretty much everything. You take therapy and you take diagnostics. You match them together and you get theranostics. The whole idea is to combine the ability to see the cancer with the ability to treat it, all rolled into one super elegant targeted system. So how does this actually play out? Well, it's this brilliant two-step process. First up is see the target. A patient gets an injection of a special molecule that has a tiny, harmless radioactive tag attached to it. This molecule is engineered to act like a heat-seeking missile that only hunts for cancer cells. Then you do a scan and boom, every place the cancer is hiding lights up on the screen. Then comes part two, treat the target. You use the exact same heat-seeking molecule, but this time you swap out the harmless tag for a powerful cancer-killing radioactive payload. You're basically sending in a strike team to the precise GPS coordinates that you just mapped out. And really, the entire goal is captured perfectly in the research. The aim is, and I'm quoting here, to deliver targeted ionizing radiation to cancer cells whilst sparing healthy cells. In other words, you bring the full force of the treatment down on the tumor while leaving the rest of the body alone. It's about maximum damage to the cancer with minimum damage to the patient. I mean, that is the absolute definition of precision medicine. But that all brings up a really important question, right? How does that little molecule know where to go? Out of the trillions of cells in the human body, how does this GPS find the exact right address? The secret lies in finding a unique feature on the surface of the cancer cells. You can think of it like a special flag that only the cancer cells are waving, or a unique docking station that you just don't find on healthy cells. The theranostic agent is then designed to be the one and only key that fits perfectly into that specific lock. And what's so exciting is that researchers have already identified a whole bunch of these potential targets in breast cancer. Each of these names you see here, HER2, FAPI, and so on, represents a different docking station that we can aim for, which just opens up so many possibilities for treating different kinds of breast cancer. To really bring this to life, let's just zoom in on two of the most promising targets that are being studied right now because they show just how clever and versatile this whole approach can be. Okay, so the first strategy is pretty straightforward. You target the cancer cell directly. A classic example is a protein called HER2. Now, about 20% of breast cancers have way too much HER2 on their surface. You can think of it like a gas pedal that's stuck to the floor, telling the cell to grow and divide like crazy. For these patients, HER2 is the perfect bullseye. We can design our smart bomb to seek out and lock onto that HER2 protein, delivering the treatment right where it needs to go. Targeting the cancer cell directly is a great idea, but here's where it gets even more interesting. What if you could think bigger? What if, instead of just targeting the cancer cells themselves, you went after the entire ecosystem that the tumor builds to help it survive and grow? This is where our second example, FAPI, comes in. Now, FAPI-based treatments do something completely different. They don't target the cancer cells at all. Instead, they go after the tumor's support crew. These are cells called cancer-associated fibroblasts, or CAFs. Normally, these fibroblast cells are the good guys. They help heal wounds and build structure. But cancer is sneaky. It corrupts them and forces them to build scaffolding for the tumor, create new blood vessels for it, and even help it hide from your immune system. And check out this number, because it's pretty stunning. In some cases, this supporting structure, this stroma, can make up to 90% of a tumor's total mass. Just think about that. 90%. So when you use a FAPI-based theranostic, you're not just picking off a few cancer cells, you are demolishing the entire fortress they live in. It's a complete game changer because you're taking out the supply lines, the defenses, the whole shebang. Now, I know this all sounds incredibly promising, and it absolutely is. But we also have to remember, this is cutting-edge science. There's still a journey ahead before this becomes a standard treatment that's available to everyone. So there are a few key hurdles that researchers are working on right now. Of course, there's the whole regulatory approval process, which is very long and rigorous for good reason. Then you have the huge questions of cost and access. How do we make these advanced therapies affordable and available? And on the science side, we just need more data from big clinical trials, and scientists are always working to perfect these radiopharmaceuticals. That's the technical term for the smart bomb molecule itself. When you pull back and look at the big picture, the main thing to remember is this. Theranostics isn't just a small step forward. It really could be a fundamental shift in how we approach cancer care. We're talking about moving away from that old one-size-fits-all model to a future where your treatment is designed specifically for the unique molecular fingerprint of your disease.
So, with its amazing ability to both see and destroy cancer with such incredible precision, Theranostics really does offer a huge amount of hope. It makes you wonder, right? Are we looking at the very beginning of a new era in cancer care, one that's truly personalized and far more effective? Only more time and more research will give us the answer.